Well, thank you for being here. And you know, you might feel that you're a bit of a small group, but you're a very important group. This is a core group. This is a core coalition group, and that's what's really important. So thanks for inviting a Democrat to your first annual Olympic conference. I do want to tell you that I am a Democrat, as Kanye West said, a Democrat is off the plantation. I did vote for Donald Trump, and you have to ask yourself why so many people would vote for a billionaire New York property developer who had never been elected to public office. And the answer is because we're desperate. That's the reason. Because we see, those of us who can see, regardless of what little letter you have after your name, those of us who can see that we are in desperate straits and we need someone who understands how to preserve our country and our freedom. And freedom's not just a word, as we know. It's not just something, it's not conceptual, it is real, it is factual. Just go to many other countries on this planet and you're going to see that where you are is a great country, and we definitely can make it better, and that's why we're here. So, as Kirby said, in our Constitution we're guaranteed the rights we were born with. And foremost are the rights to free speech, assembly, property ownership, the right to change our leadership, and to bear arms if we must. We live in a constitutional republic. What we're seeing today in the renegade press and the intelligence agencies with the attack on the presidency is a vision of the future of totalitarianism in our country. That's what it looks like. This is why we are here, because the only check on this power is the people. The vocal and visible exercise of our rights is our shield and sword in freedom. And you don't have to be a Republican to know that, but it helps, I guess. So Kirby was talking about truth, and I want to tell you, obviously it's a lot tougher. It seems like it's tougher and tougher to speak the truth to people and have them hear it and understand what it is that you're talking about. And I'm going to give you a hint about why that is. I don't know if you knew this, I did not know it, that every year the Oxford English Dictionary chooses a word of the year. And it's not necessarily a word that you've actually used or that you have ever even heard. It's sort of a word that exemplifies the tenor of the year. And the word that they chose for 2016, I would say that in fact you could use that as the word for, maybe the last 2 decades. And that is post-truth. Post-truth. Okay, so how do they define that? They say it's relating to or denoting circumstances in which objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. Post-truth. That's where we're at now. That's why you can stand up here and you can say it's objective reality. It is true. And yet you are not heard. Because people will say, well, that's just your opinion. That's just the way you see things. Because everyone is entitled to their own opinion and view of the truth. And oftentimes people have no information. But they always have an opinion. And this is what we have to work with. So as freedom and property rights advocates, you're going to find yourselves completely at odds with and deeply concerned by the agenda for the 21st century. And that's what it's called by the United Nations and the world, the agenda for the 21st century. That is 1999 to 2099. That is a 100-year agenda. It's the blueprint. It's the action plan, the comprehensive action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all law enforcement, all education, all information, and all human beings in the world. It is an inventory and control plan. And technology makes this possible in a way that it has never been possible before. So of course you're going to be concerned about this. It's, you know, not just as property rights advocates and not just as Americans, but as free human beings. Because this is a serious, serious problem. It is actually the framework that is making it possible to take your freedom away. And this is what it looks like. I'm going to show you how this plan, which is called, you know, if you go to Wikipedia, which I've tried to change many times, they finally, I think they were going to come out to my house with a machine gun or something like that. I don't know. You know, you'll see if you go on Wikipedia or anywhere else online, you're going to see them say, oh yeah, Agenda 21, it's a non-binding voluntary agreement. I'm going to show you today, in a short time, how that isn't true. Okay? So it's the Agenda 21 Sustainable Development. It's the biggest public relations scam in the history of the world. But it's far more than that. Because the agenda for the 21st century justifies and enables the loss of private property rights, the USA Patriot and Freedom Acts, which allow for domestic surveillance, loss of industry, agriculture, and our food independence, the destruction of our educational system with the insertion of sustainability principles and ideology from pre-kindergarten all the way to postgraduate school and beyond. That's lifelong learning. We're seeing the overprescription of behavior-altering drugs, social engineering through land use planning, overregulation. Are we suffering from overregulation by government agencies? Ultimately, this is the loss of personal and national sovereignty. This is the direction that this is going in, and this is how it's going. Representative government is being replaced by regional governance. Unelected boards and commissions where you have no voice and no vote. It's ultimately the elimination of the nation state worldwide. This is the goal. It's a global transfer to megacorporations. And I'm really, believe it or not, I'm not an alarmist kind of a person. What I'm doing is I'm telling you what is really going on. It's not an easy thing to hear, but this is real, and I am going to show you today. So this is the erection of a corporatocracy. It's a global totalitarian state, and it is happening now. This 20-year-old plan is in the end stages now. It's an administrative coup d'etat. And because it doesn't come with flashing lights and it doesn't come with labels, you're never going to see it called Agenda 21. You will see sustainable development, and of course, like Kirby said, you think you know what sustainable development is. Gee, isn't it, conservation, recycling and reuse? No, that is the green mask. That's why I called my book Behind the Green Mask. Because this is the story that you're told. It's a stealth plan, and it hides in plain sight. And yeah, it sounds like Area 51 or Catch 22. They did it on purpose, obviously. Agenda 21, you sound like a nut right away. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. But it is a conspiracy fact. The plan, obviously, is crazy. I'm not, and you're not. Agenda 21 is dependent on the Hegelian dialectic, which is a crisis is posed and a solution is offered. A crisis is created, really. A solution is posed, and the balance between these two is the new normal. And you would never have agreed to that new normal if it hadn't been for that crisis. There's a crisis pressuring the acceptance of the new normal. In the case of Agenda 21, we've got two major crises. Crisis number 1, global warming, climate change. Ooh, it's serious. The planet's in danger. The sea levels are rising. Life forms are threatened. There's no time to lose. Panic, chaos, collapse. Don't think. You can't think. Post-truth, you can't think. You must act. Al Gore wrote a book in 1992. It's called Earth in the Balance. Think about this word balance. You're going to hear it a lot. It's a jargon term. It is one of the terms. Balance. He said in Earth in the Balance, he said, a wrenching transformation of society will be necessary to save the planet. A wrenching transformation of society. A global crisis, think about this, a global crisis justifies global governance. So, all intelligent people agree that this is our fault. Our wasteful, greedy, selfish ways have almost destroyed the planet. So, what are we going to do? Well, here comes the United Nations to the rescue. They're going to save the planet. We've got the United Nations Commission on Environment and Development. It's the Brundtland Commission. They put out a book in 1987. It's called Our Common Future. And that's where sustainable development was first formally defined. And sustainable development, in their words, it's development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. Well, that sounds good to me. I mean, you don't want to compromise the ability of your grandchildren to be able to meet their needs, right? Who wants to do that? But, okay, all that remained then was to say that, yes, everything you're doing now does compromise the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So, the United Nations General Assembly said, can you come back in 5 years with the action plan to implement sustainable development worldwide? And the Brundtland Commission said, sure. And they did. They came back in 5 years with this. It's the action plan, Agenda 21. It's not a fantasy. I am not a conspiracy theorist. This is the real deal. It's a 300-page, 40-chapter book. It covers every aspect of your life, but nicely. Because it's a green mask itself. And it's based on 3 E's. This is what they call it. They always have, you know, I don't know if you're a student of Chinese, the Chinese political history and also the Russian political history, but they always have numbers. You know, it's the 5 goods, the 7 bads, the 8 whatever. Well, you're going to see that with Agenda 21 too, and you will see it with your regional plans. And I'm going to show you how this is implemented locally, but this is kind of, they're often not just trigger words and not just jargon terms, but there are also styles and there are also attitudes that you will recognize that are big, flashing lights for you when you know what you're looking at. So there are the 3 pillars, they're very serious about this. The 3 pillars of Agenda 21 are also the 3 E's. They're economy, ecology, and social equity. So you're going to see this image. I hope you can see it. It's I'm very low tech. It's a Venn diagram. It's 3 interlocking circles, right? It's economy, ecology, and equity, social equity. And where they meet in the center, that's sustainability. It's in balance, right? So I think we know what economy is. We're pretty sure we know what the environment or ecology is, but what's social equity? Social justice. You certainly see that a lot. Social equity. It requires a distribution of resources from those who have unjustly gained them to those who justly deserve them. Okay, now I'm looking at a predominantly white group of people who probably own property. You have unjustly gained that. Agenda, and I mean, you can go, there are university courses where I didn't happen to bring this with me, but I'd be happy to direct you to courses that'll show you what the target groups are, what the unjustly deserving people are, and they are primarily they'll show you actual format for these plans, and they will show you it's white, middle class, males mostly, who own property. Okay, I'm not, this is real. So Agenda 21, a key provision of it throughout that entire book is data collection and information sharing worldwide. So it's about collecting the information and sharing it. There is a social and political philosophy that goes with this plan, and it's communitarianism. And communitarianism, think about balance. Communitarianism says that the individual's rights have to be balanced with the rights of the community. Well, hey, I don't know about you, but I'm in America and I have individual rights guaranteed to me in my Constitution. Okay? The community's rights? What? What are the community's rights? They're not delineated anywhere. They are vague. They can change at any time. So here's the individual. Your rights are like a feather. The rights of the community are like a brick. They will always outweigh the individual's rights. You are a single voice, the voice of the many. This is a democracy. The voice of the mob will always outweigh you. Individuals can be identified as people who will speak for large groups of people, and if you do not block that, you are assumed to agree. So